Episode 201 is in the books, man. I know you wanted to do it, you son of a. Well, yeah, man, it was a good conversation. We talked about a little bit of everything, mostly mental health, a little bit Simone Biles, ROC, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. So yeah, man, what do you think of the pod?
I definitely wanted to do it. Episode 201. I was psyched for it.
Yeah, man.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, man. It feels like we haven't done a pod in months, man.
We did 2 last week.
But I got 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Where all I got to do is go to work, eat, and take care of the dogs. So if we don't do a podcast or 15 podcasts every day, while I have this window,
we're gonna bank it for sure. We're gonna bank it for sure.
Yeah.
Man, like something that we didn't cover on the pod. Just want I realized how negativity can affect things sometimes. Where I'll go back and watch the views of the podcast. I won't say their name, but the podcast that I used to really watch. You know what I mean? With you know what I'm talking about. The numbers are vastly different, man. The numbers are vastly different, and that's kind of crazy. We're I was I know we talk a lot of shit. We're I never want to be that pod, man. I never want to be that pod that has that kind of negative and toxicity to it, where it becomes this whole other beast. Where it takes one person to rip the fucking the curtain back. Hey, man, this is how it really is. So we always want to be a positive podcast, bro. Talk shit and say wild shit on the show, yes, but negative.
Yeah, but not put people down.
Never.
Yeah.
Never. That's me and you will talk shit to each other, but we're brothers, you know what I mean? But it'll never be some degrading, disrespectful shit. That is never something that's gonna happen on this podcast at all whatsoever, bro. I just want to say that in the intro and put that out there.
For sure. I still don't know how you get that shirt over your head and it's not the fucking collar's not deformed.
Here's the thing, I cut it at the back.
Yeah. It looks like someone just put the front and then they sewed the back and they sewed it together, because there's no way that you put that over your head and the collar isn't deformed. How does that happen?
If you ever notice, I don't really ever turn my back, because I just cut it right through the back to be able to. It's just kind of it's not even so
duct tape to the back.
No, it's Velcro. It's Velcroed, because if I duct tape, how the fuck would I take it off and have back hair so it'll rip the back hair off? So now it's Velcroed, and then I gotta have Melanie help me out because I got short arms. Look at this. This is all I got. Right?
T-Rex arms.
T-Rex motherfucking arms and zero flexibility. But yeah, man, it was a good time, man. I always appreciate our conversations, my brother. We're definitely gonna bank a lot this weekend. Dude, we didn't even talk about the TJ Dillashaw return. There's so much we have left to cover.
We'll talk that next pod.
Yeah,
even though it'll be a week late.
No, not when I upload them. If it was you, it'd be different. But yeah, man, episode 201 in the books. We had a good time. Enjoy the show. Ant House Beats intro coming at you right. Yo, what are you doing right now?
The big V. Look, man.
All right, man. Let's just jump right into this shit.
I made my wife wake up and drive me there anyway. Is it major?
Pues con eso.
¿Qué pasó, papá? ¿Cómo estás? Any questions?
Now, when you bought that sweater, right? You just go, fuck it. I'm going full Mr. Rogers. You've tuned into the Man Chatter podcast. Yeah, man. So we back at it again, episode 201. What's going on with you, brother? 201. Why do you make that?
That's
face?
What's going on.
All right. Cheers, man.
You know why I made the face? Because I wanted to acknowledge somebody, and I couldn't do it.
And look, you were about to, right? It's right there.
It was taken away from me. No, I wasn't about to, but God, I wanted to, just for the hell of it.
I know you did, you son of a.
I've been good, man. I've been good. Mel's on vacation.
Yep.
Without me this time.
Yep, which is good.
So it gives me time to take care of some things.
Mm-hmm. So you're gonna start. You're trying to venture out and diversify your portfolio, which I think is always a good thing. So how's that been going? Obviously a lot of challenges.
Yeah, I'm putting together a digital info product. So I've just been editing that and working on it, and it's just me here. So I got to do something to keep myself busy. So if I'm not outside running or taking care of these dogs, one of them's on the couch right now. It's staring at me with his sad eyes.
Oh, the guilt. Yeah.
I get to work on, and when I'm not at work, obviously, because I work in the morning to early afternoon, then I'm working on this. Because the goal is to just be able to do this full time. Yeah. I mean, not the podcast, that would be nice too, but just what I'm trying to do and get these products out, get this out there and test it and see if it works and scale. Man.
It's look, it's definitely good to diversify your income and all that shit. Excuse me. But yeah, like I'm trying to focus on designing more t-shirts for the store that you could find on our Twitter. And just trying to grow that, little by little. Like it definitely just take a lot of work, and you got to think about like what, not just what you like, but what the consumer would like and shit like that. So what would be more appealing to everybody, what makes the most money, what's more realistic, because like you can have, not to sound like you can have the dreams, right? But like you also got to put in the work to make that dream happen. I mean, it's not just I'm gonna make this shit and then if I can flies off the shelves.
Yeah. I mean, it's the dream is good, but you got to put in the work to try to make that come true.
Yeah, man.
And I'm gonna sound like a boomer, whatever you want to call them, or Generation X, a dream
millennial.
killer.
I think you're a millennial, right?
We're an old ass man. I'm a millennial, but I'm an old millennial. Sometimes I don't know if I belong with this generation.
You don't know how to identify.
You don't know how identify more to like like Generation Z. I'm not even gonna acknowledge any other ridiculousness.
You don't have to if you're listening, you acknowledge it.
But yeah, man, like I feel like the younger generation, it's like, oh yeah, we have these dreams. This is awesome. But I don't know that I'm generalizing, right? Because
of course,
it happens with every generation.
Yeah, every generation shits on the generation after it. Oh, you have it too easy. Oh, it's so much easier. Isn't that the goal of your generation, to not make it as hard? Like, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, the goal is for the next generations to have it easier and easier, but I just don't see that they like actually see the hard work that it takes.
The work ethic,
because of like the world that we live in, right? You're talking about as we've progressed, we've gone closer and closer to that instant gratification, right?
Yes.
The
Wally.
Perfect example is like a microwave. Yeah, Wally. I've told my kids and my wife, I'm like, we are getting so close to that. But I mean, an example is the microwave. Like, I don't want to cook. I'm just gonna throw this shit in the microwave, and we've had that for decades.
Yeah.
And so people see YouTubers and people on TikTok and Twitch streamers, and they just see the overnight success because we have access to everything in a supercomputer that's right here.
Yep.
And so they just think, oh, I'm going to do that, or I can become that. And then, a lot of these kids are, I think, suffering from delusions. Some of them might suffer from like mental health issues because like they don't have the success.
Yeah. And then they feel like a failure.
These people that they follow, and they feel like a failure because we have easy access to it. And the truth is that they don't see the hard work. Some of these people maybe go viral, and that's cool. That happens.
Well, some of them are frauds too.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But then there are overnight successes.
Yeah.
Oh, Bilzerian, who blew $50 million.
Yeah.
But then there are people that put in the hard work that become quote unquote overnight sensation or overnight success. But really, it's taking 6, 7, 8 years to get to that point, and then they finally blow up, and that's all that, especially the younger generation, that's all that they see. They don't like. Sometimes they just don't. I don't think they're realizing that the work that it took to get there, because we live in a viral generation where it just takes one video.
Yeah, and I think the funny thing about that is, right, like reading listening to the Kevin Hart and the Joe Coy books, right, where people are like, oh, they're overnight successes. They don't, and the story and the book is like 10, 15 years of them grinding, fucking driving who knows how many miles to all these comedy clubs and all this shit. Like, this overnight success. Does it happen? Yes, right. Like we're not disillusioned to that reality, but the reality is there's a lot of hard work that you don't see behind the scenes to make your grow, right? Like, and then there's those people or those podcasts or those viral sensations that make one video and then somehow it just pops. It hits at the right time, right algorithm. But you know what I mean, and that whole thing, and it just fucking fly off the shelves, and it's a wrap, and they're off to a whole new life because of a video, and that's and that's cool too. Like that is also
cool that we have that. opportunity.
Yeah, and that's also cool that it's a possibility. Like I'm not one of those people that like hates on that, on the virality of life that it is now. But it's also like that's not going to happen to everybody. So you can't live off that moment because it happened to somebody else. It's going to happen to you. Because then you're right though. Like you're going to have that mental health issue of, oh man, like it happened to him, why didn't it happen to me? Or happened to her, why didn't it happen to me? What did they do that I didn't? Then you're like killing yourself through the comparison, and that's the enemy of everything. So it's a motherfucker, man. It really is. God damn. But yeah, hard work, man, is the biggest thing. Like you were saying.
Yeah, it reminds me, hard work. A little song from the army. Hard work. Something
Hard
along those lines.
Work. It was always like you like the drill sergeant would fill in the blank, right? And then when you're left with hard work, then he talks some shit. Hard work. I always like, what was it? Was it drip drop, the drip? Forget that cadence. Am I off? Because it's been like fucking 20 years now. God, I feel old.
No, it's something like that. I forget.
That was my shit because I
have a book on cadences around here.
I had a drill sergeant. I had a drill sergeant that could like really sing, and that shit was sometimes we didn't just end up listening because he's like singing and we're just like, we supposed to say something because this motherfucker just went on the voice, and we're out here trying to just breathe. Like this shit's crazy. But yeah, man, like that about that generational shit, right? Like I'm trying to say this in the most general way possible. Like if you work with somebody who's in a, well, you know, if you work with somebody who's from a different generation, different, like not so much like the boomers, not the baby boomers, but like the generation right after that, like you work with them, they think we're lazy as fuck, right? They think us millennials like, oh, we don't know hard work. They'll tell us a story about somebody they worked with, that reminds you of them, and then like somehow you're a lazy by age bracket or some shit, like by generation. Like I think that's the talking point that like gets fed to like every generation. Like I don't know if the generation after us is more lazy, but it's a totally different world for them that we didn't grow up in, right? Like we have social media now, not social media then. Like imagine like Javi, right? Javi has all the social medias. That's a totally different world than us. Like if they didn't live in our apartment building, we didn't know who the fuck they were, right? Like that's it. Exactly. That was our whole social media. Anything past, I didn't know who lived in the houses across from us. The only people outside of that was maybe Max at the video store and the 7-Eleven guys. That was it.
Yo, you remember T-Mobile had like the friends plus 5 or some crazy shit like that?
Yes.
I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah,
that was like Facebook before Facebook. It was like, wait, what? Or Friendster and all these other things that came out. But yeah, Javi was born into it, 2008. And you know, by the time he was able to use a phone, like I'm glad I put like educational apps on mine, and that's all he could use. So if he was going to use it, I didn't want to just watch endless YouTube videos. Which unfortunately now he's just endlessly watching TikTok videos. I'm like, dude, that's ridiculous. I taught you better than that. Get off of that.
I know.
Go. You wanted to create TikTok videos? Go create videos, or you can't be on TikTok. You said you wanted to create, so go create.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all he knows. Like he was born into technology. He doesn't know a world without it. Where you and I straddle that line where we knew what it was, and we saw AOL and Windows 3.1 and burning CDs and then
just
14
CDs.
and 28 and 56K and the first iPhone and all, you know, smartphones, and before that, you know, whatever it was, the Sidekick and all that shit, beepers.
Fucking
so we know both.
Blueberries. Remember Blueberries?
Blackberries.
Yeah. That's how much I don't remember.
Blackberries.
Blackberries.
That's a hell of a transition though, to go from Blackberries to, you know, and Sidekicks and pagers to smartphones.
Yes.
In 20 years, the type of smartphones that we have now, because I think the first iPhone was like 2008 or something. To go from that to the iPhone, and then the iPhones and all the other Android or devices that use Android now, it's a huge leap in technology.
It's almost mind-blowing. Like it almost doesn't make sense, right? Like it's almost like if you tell this story to earlier generations or future generations, like, yo, man, we went from having to have our own line to that what was cool. Like if you had your own line in your own room, you were the shit.
So no one has lines now.
to
Who
no one
needs-
has the line
Yeah.
to having a computer in your pocket
Yeah.
in 20 years.
This is more powerful than my first desktop PC in the 90s.
Yeah.
Way more powerful.
Yeah.
Those things don't even come close.
No, it doesn't. It's not even.
That's the kind of leap that we made.
In 20, it's some ancient alien shit in real time.
Mhm.
I mean, like some shit you really can't comprehend. Because 20 years ago, I think I had a Nokia phone with the case, and I thought that was the shit. That was me with fucking with
Yeah.
T9 and playing Snake. Now I play Golf Clash with like real. It's fucking crazy, dude. It's crazy the shit we can do now in comparison to 20 years ago. God, are we having like are we having like an old?
Well, no,
man
to bring
moment?
it back.
Are we having like an old man moment, reminiscing, and we're 37?
We definitely are, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But to bring it back, the fact that we have that leap in technology is why I'm trying to put together some of these things. Because I have some we do side businesses, and I sell on eBay and Amazon and stuff like that. But that's still old world stuff.
Yep.
Like where I set up a business and I get a license to purchase from a wholesaler or a supplier or liquidator or whatever, and then I sell that and I mark it up and I sell it in the marketplace, like retail.
Yep.
That's still old. Like the model that's been around that works, and this isn't new. It's been around for years. I just haven't really jumped into it. Is selling digital products, right? And I'm not talking about like the crazy fake guru stuff or like, oh, I'm gonna sell you a course on how to make money.
Oh,
that
you
shit
mean the
is
YouTube
rampant.
ads? You mean the YouTube
that
ads?
Shit is those YouTube ads, but it's rampant on the internet. That's essentially like the old school MLM and the late night TV commercials that you watch these guys sell stuff.
Nigerian Prince shit.
Tony is it Tony Robbins?
Yeah.
Right? That bullshit like inspirational speaker stuff where he sells like $10,000 and $15,000 like seminars to go hang out with him for a week or a weekend or something or whatever. There are people selling how to get rich courses. Oh, I'll teach you how to sell on Amazon. And not the way I do it, but a different way, like Amazon FBA, like different type of stuff. Or I'll teach you how to do this or teach you how to do that. They're charging $5,000 a course.
Yep.
$4,997. I'm going to. Oh, your time is coming early, Snowball.
My dog's over here hovering, man, because he doesn't know how to. He doesn't know how to get the ball from under the couch, so he knocked it out from under. So that's always a good time. No, but yeah, there's always those scams, right? Like we watched that like Money Explained mini docs on Netflix, and it was and there's thank you. I still gotta watch Heist, by the way. I haven't watched it yet. We've been binging Big Bang Theory. We're on like season 6, about to be done with season 6. 6 more seasons to go. Let me tell you, it is a struggle, but whatever. Like that whole Nigerian Prince thing, right? Like now it's just YouTube ads. Oh, click here. You know what I mean? Click here to figure out how to make $10,000 a week, or you know what I mean? Some different shows. Like, yeah, no, man, I'm never. The scam is when I sign up, that's how you make your money.
And here's the thing, man. Like these things that they sell, one, they're not scams in the sense that they're legit. How do I know? Because I use my VPN.
Yes.
Instead of paying $2,000.
Just leave it there. Just leave it there. Leave it
there
there.
Are torrents. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I went through the courses. They're legit. The problem is the way that they advertise it.
It comes off like a scam.
And how they make it, and then they put the fine print somewhere. They're like, oh, these results are not they're not common. Yep. Everyone's results will vary. You put in the hard work, everyone's work ethic, blah, 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 blah. But the marketing part of it and how they market it is the part that's really, like, I think crosses ethical bounds. They make it seem and they target, because targeting is available to you and me and anyone. You don't have to be working for a marketing firm. You can just go on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or whatever and pick who you're going to target. They target the most vulnerable people, the people that are already searching for ways on how to make money, because those people probably need money. They're in a bind. Yeah. And they target those people with this crazy marketing that makes it seem like you buy my program. Yeah, it's $2,000, but wouldn't you want to invest $2,000 in yourself so that you can be making $10,000 a month? If I were to tell you, give me $2,000 and I'll give you $10,000 every month, wouldn't you make that trade? Like the psychology they use is crazy, and those programs are not worth $2,000. They're legit, but the pressure and the marketing tactics and psychology they use to lure people in, especially the people that are buying it are people that are like desperate and trying to put the shit on credit, hoping they don't go over their limit. That's the part that I find unethical. That while not a scam, is still a scam. It's the way that they go about it and how they take advantage of people.
No, I'm with you on. I'm with you on that. Like as soon as I see them pop up on any YouTube ad, I hit skip ad immediately because they're like always walking through like some huge house, like always in the background, and
Lamborghinis,
like
look at all these Lambos,
and like this huge pool and all this shit. And I was like, yeah, nah, bro. Like everything about you reads infomercial, and I'm out immediately. Like just off that marketing lane that they use, I guess we could say. But yeah, man, it's just
it's crazy. But I want to leverage that technology to do that, to sell information products. I can't market it the way they do. I'm not putting my face on it. But like I wrote an article that's like 12 pages on how to do what I do right now on the side. And I was like, you know what? I can package that into an actual course. And that information is free, by the way. But you don't know how many like videos I saw to compile that, to go through everything and learn what I had to do. And I'm sure someone's selling a course like that now, but they're selling it for like $4,000 or $3,000. I've seen the commercials, the YouTube ads. I'm like, it doesn't cost that much. And so that's what I'm going to work on. I'm going to work on taking that article, recording videos, recording step-by-steps, and doing the same thing, like finding an audience that's looking for this and how to learn how to do this. Can they get it for free? Sure. You can do a lot of stuff for free. People don't have to get a degree, but they do it because that paper helps them get a job.
100%.
But also it's easier to have it in one place, so you don't have to go through multiple YouTube videos. Now, there again, I don't have issues with people selling courses. I just have issues with them marketing the way they do, and the fact that they probably make most of their money from selling the course, not from actually doing the thing that they're telling you, that they're teaching how to
100%, 100%.
So that's it's like you're just making money from selling this course. Like you don't really do this for a living. Like you sell courses.
I mean, you think about it, you get 5 people, you shoot that many shots, right? You get 5 people to do it. That's $10,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You should see the money that they spend on marketing.
Yeah.
Just to like generate those sales. It's crazy. The hundreds of thousands of dollars that they cast
a huge net out there to do it. Like it might work, right? But the way they go about it, just like I'm like, nah, man, I just can't rock with that shit. Can't do it. I don't know. But yeah, man, like it's about finding that balance of how to market yourself and then not seem like a fucking creep to go about it the right way. You know what I mean? Like you got to come off with some personality, not like, hey man, look at my huge house. Cool. Obviously everybody wants a huge house, but don't look like a douchebag doing it. Yeah, that's just my hot take. They all do. They all look the same.
Crazy.
With like all the different accents from like Australian, New Zealand, the fucking anything. They all look exactly the same. They're like this fucking cardboard cutout of a person. It's crazy, regardless of like race and everything. But yeah, man. All right, so obviously we drinking bourbon. We got to talk some shit. Do you want to? I'm gonna leave it up to you. Do you want to start with the ROC or Simone Biles? Because
we can do ROC.
July 27th. We're in the middle of the Olympics, right? We're what 4 or 5 days in now, right? Because it started Thursday, Wednesday, really with like soccer and shit. But like this ROC shit is weird, bro. Like it's, mind you, Russia as a country is banned, but somehow there's Russians in every competition across the board, and they're winning everything. But this is also a country that was banned for doping because they.
What is the ROC? What does that stand for?
Russian Olympic Committee. How are they?
So it's not Russia. Russia's not competing, right? They're banned from the Olympics.
Yeah, but
so
Russia,
these are Russian athletes.
Yeah, this is the biggest committee in the history of the world, right? Like, I don't understand how they like. It's weird because like the commentators aren't really like when they really like things for me was last night when the men's were competing, right? And they were like, oh, this athlete, can't pronounce his name, so I'm not even gonna try. This athlete tore his Achilles 3 months ago, and now he's in the Olympics. I was like, huh? Wait, what? Like
He must have a hell of a physical therapist.
he must have the physical therapist. 3 months ago, he tore his Achilles. Now, mind you, Klay Thompson tore his Achilles last year, still isn't back to full contact basketball. And that's just
Yeah, but Clay is weak, man. He's
he's
a
not,
young millennial, right? So
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
he's weak-minded and weak-bodied.
that's right. He's not Russian.
Americans in general are weak. You can't compare him to a Russian. Russians are born into this hard environment.
They're born into the tundra.
He could have been competing with his Achilles torn. He didn't even need the surgery or the.
Yeah, it was just they just needed to put it back together for competitive reasons. The
That's
level,
crazy to me.
listen, bro. Let's first of all, I don't want any problems with Putinsky, right? Let's just just want to put that, but this is all bullshit, right? Like I wasn't interested. I was kind of interested with the whole Sha'Carri Richardson, you know what I mean, and like watching the track and field, especially like the week leading up to it. But then Sha'Carri Richardson gets suspended, right, or banned for weed, and then the number one performers are from a country that had state-sponsored doping, allegedly, even though WADA found out that they were, and they went through the science and everything of, I'm assuming, doping all their athletes. And I'm supposed to believe that they're not doing it anymore when one of their main gymnasts motherfucking tore his Achilles 3 months ago and yesterday helped the team win a gold medal.
Yeah, man. Look, the U.S. track and field had he's 25, 26 now. Trayvon Bromell, who's the favorite to win the 100 meters. But he missed 2 years of his career because he had an Achilles tear.
Yeah.
Or Achilles injury back in like 2018, 17, something like that. So 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years. This dude recovered in what? 3 months?
3 months. Yeah. 3.5 months ago, he had the surgery, which you usually typically like I know from like when Kobe tore his, Klay Thompson tore, you basically get the surgery the next day. Unless there's like really
I know
bad.
why. I know why it worked.
Why? Because
that's the power. No, man. That's the power of socialized healthcare. That's the power of free healthcare. Russia's got some of that best free healthcare in the world. He didn't have to pay for that shit. The doctor's doing it out of the goodness of his heart, not because a pharmaceutical company's paying him money to push certain meds.
Right.
No, he's doing it because he loves his country. Deep in his heart, his feelings of his love for the motherland are so great that he somehow was able to channel that love for country
into his Achilles,
towards his Achilles, so that it could heal faster. And then the doctor's hands and the doctor's love for motherland were so strong that he channeled that to his hands to repair the Achilles. I mean, that's some incredible stuff. We should be talking about miracles right now.
Now, do you think it has anything to do with the forced love that they have to have for the motherland? Where like, if their love is questioned at all, they might eat something and never chew again. Like, are we going to surpass that and be like, hey, of course? Is that why you think?
I mean, we all need a little discipline in our lives, right?
Yeah, no, you definitely need to thin the herd sometimes, right? But you think that's why like the commentators aren't like commenting on that? Because again, like they had a 4-year ban in 2019, right? So should have put them through 2023. And then they like last year got it reduced for some reason. I don't know how you get something reduced after you're already found guilty. Like you're not less guilty after the facts. Like you clearly did it. They got it reduced down to 2 years.
I mean, we have appeals in regular court for stuff. So
yeah, but it's every 4 years. Like it's a 4-year ban. Like you only have to eat one Olympics, and then 2024 you're back to being able to be Russia. But now like they're crushing everything, right? Like I'm gonna tell you right now, if they somehow crush track and field, and like all of a sudden win like the 100, I'm calling bullshit on this entire thing. If somehow an Ethiopian,
this would be the greatest Olympics.
Yeah, if somehow an Ethiopian or anybody from Africa doesn't win the fucking marathon or the 18,000 meters, whatever.
Distance.
Yeah, the distance.
18,000 meters.
Yeah, I just made that. I don't give a fuck. I don't know.
The 10,000 and the 5,000.
Yeah. If somehow a Russian wins that, I'm calling bullshit on all of it, yo. Like I'm already calling bullshit on it because today was the Simone Biles thing we'll get to in a minute. But the Russians were like that. These people like came out of nowhere. So these are the excuses or examples that I'm assuming people are gonna make, right? Oh, they've been clean all this time. Okay, they don't. If you're clean, you don't then perform better, right? Like your body goes through a detox and your muscles aren't. Look, perfect example: Vitor Belfort, who's and the big heavyweight that destroyed Brock Lesnar and like made him retire. Fuck is his name? Big dude, man. He has a huge body, little head. When he was on like all the juice, bro. He was never a heavyweight champion. He's the one that got knocked out by Stipe. I was like, oh, I felt him tap, but then he never tapped.
I'm gonna have to look it up. I don't know.
I don't fucking. But like, you see how much somebody's body changes after you stop doping, and so what we're supposed to believe is they got better after they stopped doping. One, or these are a whole new crop of athletes that weren't part of the quote unquote testing of the state sponsored doping. Like I'm supposed like one of these two things, both of those things can't be true, and I'm calling. I smell a whole bunch of bullshit. A whole bunch. Like again,
there's a lot.
Like you say, like I don't care if they do dope, right? If they fucking dope up and let's see what the body can really do. All right, I'm cool with that. But then let everybody do it. Like I want to see what Katie Ledecky can do with some juice. You know what I mean? Like I want to see what
the 17-year-old.
No, that was Lydia Jacoby. Shout out to that video though from Alaska. Yeah, like Katie Ledecky's like the freestyle. She's a freestyle swimmer that swims twice tonight. She has a 200 meter and then the 1500 meter. The 1500 meter she wins by like 8 car lengths or some wild shit. Like it's not. That's not.
That tells you how much I'm following swimming and the Olympics. Look, I usually follow it. Like I make time to watch it, but when they're going on, it's 3 a.m. I'm not getting up at 3 a.m. to watch swimming. I'm not that into the Olympics. Yeah, it's not happening.
Like what's not that bad is like when it's on at night because it's already like 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock in Japan, so they're already racing. So that's not as bad. But yeah, I'm not getting up at 3 o'clock in the like. No, I didn't. No, I watched a little bit of the U.S. game this morning because it was on while I was getting dressed. U.S. women's soccer. But besides that, I'm not scheduling my day around what happens with the Olympics. Not setting my.
I am going to try to make time for the track events, though.
That starts next week.
Not the field events, but the track events.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna watch javelin or fucking the high jump.
There is an American who I think just set the world record of the Olympic trials for shot put.
The big dude.
He might destroy the field. I think.
Yeah, he threw it like out of the course. Like he threw it like past everything, or something.
Yeah, he hit my fucking windshield. That dude threw it way out there.
He threw it fucking far as shit. What do you think about the whole ROC thing, man? Like, do you not do you care? Because the Olympics are, every 4 years, you don't really get invested other than really the track and field. And there's like some big star that attaches themselves to a certain race. But just like, do you think it's bullshit? You know what I mean? Like, because I don't understand how in 3 months you could come back from an Achilles when at the very least it's 4 months. And this motherfucker's out there doing double backflip somersaults and shit. That seems like your Achilles wouldn't handle that.
No, the Achilles is one of the that's one of the things where you injure that either it puts you out for a year plus or sometimes it ends people's careers. Like you don't come back from that the same. It takes, medicine has progressed, but not to the point where you come back 3 months later.
Yep.
And you're doing the crazy shit that, especially as a gymnast, and the power that it requires to do some of these things, that you're able to do that kind of like perform that way. And I mean ROC, like the whole ROC in general, the Russian Olympic Committee, like Russia, they're banned, but they're not Russia. They're competing under the Russian Olympic Committee banner. Yeah. You can't have the Russian flag, but their uniform is the color of the Russian flag. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, it's bullshit.
This, this is just like Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC.
Yes.
Like, what are we doing here? No, it's just
that's the real Super League.
Bullshit.
That's the real Super League.
That's the real Super League.
Yeah. We were out here fucking roasting Real Madrid and all these teams, and The SEC did it right up under our noses, where they're gonna have just it's gonna be 4 conferences: the Pac-12, Big Ten, SEC, and ACC, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's what it's gonna end up being, and then nothing else matters. But
yeah, I mean, it doesn't happen until 2025.
Yeah, but before that, there's gonna be a whole bunch of more realignment.
Well, yeah, those teams in the what is it, the Big 12? They're going to be looking for their Prince Charming, right? They're Cinderella, not really Cinderella. They're really like the ugly sisters, and they're going to be trying to find someone to take them. Because what's that conference going to be after Texas? And look, Texas hasn't done shit in a long time.
Yeah, but they're a hell of a brand.
They had Vince Young, and they won. They won what, 2007?
Yeah, because I stayed up to watch that with that 41-38.
They
ran
beat
into
USC
the corner.
Because I couldn't stand Vince Young, and Reggie Bush had to make some stupid play, lateraling the ball on a return. Like, what he tried to be doing? But anyway.
Yeah. Oh God, that game 14 years ago. Yeah.
That game. But Texas hasn't done shit. They're Texas. They have that name.
Yeah.
And so that's what carries, and I mean, so that's what carries the brand, and they're Texas. Oklahoma's been more competitive. They haven't won, but they've been to the playoffs a few times. They're an exciting team to watch. They've had like 3 Heisman winners in the last 10 years, 15 years, something like that. Yo.
Well, no, I think 3 out of the last 4 years, right? They had Kyler Murray. They had the white dude that plays for Cleveland,
Mayfield,
and then they had one after that, or one before that, and they're like, they got the favorite now to be the next Heisman winner, their quarterback. So
who did they have? Oh wait, what's that dude's name?
Rattler. It
was another quarterback. He played for like Philly or something.
Oh, right? Did he win the Heisman though?
Or he was one of the finalists. Maybe
he was one of the finalists. Yeah, he was in the top 3, but it was Trevor Lawrence that won the Heisman, I think.
Oh no, I'm talking about like a few years.
No,
back.
it wasn't. That wasn't Trevor Lawrence. It was a guy from Alabama. My bad. Trevor Lawrence won his first year. It was the white dude from Alabama. But look, it's something I found out today listening to Dan Le Batard, right? Shout out to Meadowlark Media. We hope to join you soon. Just want to put that out into the universe.
Into the ether?
Yeah, into the ether. Yeah.
Let's put that positivity out there.
Just want to put it out there. They had John Skipper, which is the guy the main CEO who like negotiated a lot of these networks, right? Like Longhorn Network, ACC, SEC, all that thing that started Meadowlark Media with Le Batard. And he was like, "Yep, I didn't know this." So CBS has that game of the week, right? For the SEC. They offered this.
It's a big number. I heard it.
$330 million for 15 games, right? Roughly $330 million for one game. That does, according to John Skipper and the people, that does Thursday Night Football numbers. So it's really the NFL
8s and 9s.
Yeah, NFL and SEC. Given we knew that, we're not debating that at all.
Mm-hmm.
But my God, dude, 330 million. That's just insane. Look, at this level,
but we haven't even
real quick, at this level of competition, to like kind of tie it all up and then you could continue. Like at this level of competition, it's all about money, right? It's all about performance. It's all about the eyes you can get, which is why the ROC does their doping shit. And they try to find loopholes around it because it builds controversy, and controversy brings eyes, and so on and so forth. And UT in Texas, it's about the money, right? It's the fact that they're going to get 30, 20, 30, 40, $50 million a year just off their TV contracts because of the SEC network. And that's a lot of money, bro. That's a lot of money. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I mean, it's we haven't even really mentioned it, like this whole guise of amateurism that they've held on to for a long time. I'm talking about the NCAA and these schools for not paying athletes. But
the NIL.
Once the image, what is it, name, image, likeness was passed, these schools, they realized, oh crap, like these players are going to be making money, but we need to be in the conference that's making that money. I mean, they're not stupid,
No.
right? As soon as that was passed, they realized that we're going. Like, if you don't realize now that this is not about student athletes, and
Yeah.
what's crazy is that
Oh, they should be
I don't know if
thankful they're
these-
getting a degree, type shit. Those arguments.
yeah, these
Okay.
there was a former SEC conference like chairman or something like that, and he helped, like, he was a member of the NCAA after he left the SEC. I think I don't remember the exact quote, but essentially what he said was that's the best excuse that they could come up with, or like that was the most genius explanation they can come up with to keep these guys from getting paid, calling them student athletes.
Yeah.
Because they can couch it in terms that they're getting an education, but they're students first, and then they're athletes, second, and that scholarship is what puts them through school. And I can't remember the quote, but like when you read the quote, I was like it's so sinister sounding. Like, oh, the way that he said it, it's like, yeah, it's perfect because we get to make all the money, and they
get
reap all the
nothing.
rewards, while they don't. They get nothing. They might get a degree.
Yeah.
but
What's so?
Also, like all the way that these players are, like the responsibilities and the things that they're put through these college, and we're speaking football because football makes the majority of the money for the rest of the sports in these schools. Like a lot of them don't graduate. They don't graduate.
They leave after 3 years
because
sometimes
of like
2.
all the responsibilities with the football team.
Yeah.
And they don't get drafted. So where's your education?
Exactly. Like they're put through. They're put through every year. Look, we saw it at the small school we were at, right? At the small high school we were at. The best players kind of get pushed through. They can't really function other than football, right? Like football is the only way out, and they kind of hope to make it to the league or to the association, and you go from there. But it's such a small window, and for them to be limited that they can only make money these 2 to 6 years on average in the NFL is utter bullshit, right? Like, they should always have made money. Like that's why I like that article you sent me, that like kids making money in high school. Yeah, man, like I only have this small window to make life-changing money when I come from nothing and nowhere. I'm gonna fucking do it. Like it's that simple. There's nothing wrong with that shit. Now just bring back NCAA college football 2021 and I'm good, because I missed that fucking game. Like I don't care, and it's all bullshit. Like they made hundreds of millions. Like there's no need for the NCAA anymore, because NCAA is just a regulatory committee, right? Now you have the NIL where they can make money. Why the fuck do I need you to regulate how many ketchup packets I can get?
Yeah, exactly. What are you regulating? They were there to oversee that no one get. I mean, what were they really doing to make sure no one was getting paid?
Yeah.
Every other stuff was trivial. It didn't matter. They were just regulating who got the money, which was the schools and not the players.
Yep.
So now that they can get paid, like, what do you need the NCAA for? I mean, look, and I'm telling you, something will come up in order to keep an institution. That's why we have institutions and bureaucracy. Something will be made up to justify the need for the NCAA, but we don't need them. There's no amateurism. What do we need the NCAA for?
None of it. It's all bullshit. Like
the conferences are doing the SEC is doing just fine.
Yeah,
they don't need the NCAA. The SEC is making all the money that they
all of it. They're making so much. Again, one game, $330 million, bro. One game from one foot, because that was like the primetime game at 3:30.
They might as well just do what the NFL does. Like, what do you need the NCAA for? You got these power conferences. Just get a fucking commissioner. You don't need an entire NCAA organization. You just need one person. Get Roger Goodell on some.
Yeah, just make college football like the G League or some shit. You know what I mean? Like it already is.
But that's what it is.
Just call them amateurs if you want to fucking call them amateurs. But they're just rookie. They're just like rookies in waiting. You know what I mean? They're gonna make it. Like some of these kids are gonna make it to the league if they're able to make money in their college shit. Like there's such a small window, right? What is it? 265 players make it to the league every year. There's hundreds of thousands of college football players. If those avenues of making money leads them to make more money and learn about different shit that's not just football, it could only grow a bigger population of entrepreneurs in a successful manner with already having a college education, right? Because they could play 2 years, license their likeness and their brand and all that shit, and then start a company. And who knows what that could become? It doesn't become about football. But maybe that's what the issue could be, right? We're like, oh wait, they don't really want to focus on football because they're making $6 million because they play for Alabama. As you know what I mean? Like it could become very different very quickly. So it's crazy.
I've seen so many great college football players that I don't know. They either didn't make it in the league or weren't projected to go high in the draft because they were great college football players,
Yep.
but that's all they were, and
Yep.
and that's all scouts and other people saw them as. Like they, and I'm talking about like great as in like best player for that particular season or 2 years, however long they played,
Yep.
but that they knew that that player wasn't going to make the next leap for whatever reason. They
Mhm.
weren't going to be a good fit in the league. They're too small, to this, to that, whatever.
The kid from Texas A&M.
So if you know that there's no future, but you're making millions of dollars for your school, how are you not going to let these guys make money for themselves
Yeah.
while they can?
Or
There's-
what
I
if
mean-
or what if you get injured, right? Like the perfect example, he ended up having a hell of a career because he's a fucking monster. Willis McGahee.
Willis,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Like what you go back to his knee bent backwards. Like what if he never played
Yeah.
again? And then then what does he do? What does he do? What does he become? You know what I mean? He has nothing but football. That's all he's ever known. He was the best at his position every year since he was in the womb. And then
Yeah.
that's taken away from him one bad tackle. That's when it really turned for me where I was like, they were like, because we saw that shit. You know, his career's
National
over.
championship game.
Yeah, 2002.
That's the one that Ohio State, the referees gave away.
Yeah,
Still bothers me.
yes, it does. 2002, and I forget. That's why it's on my asterisk on my UM shoes.
But yeah, man, that play was. I mean, I thought his career was over.
Yeah.
I was thinking, if whether Miami won or lost or whatever, like I was looking forward to seeing him in the league, and then I
Yes.
saw that happen, and I said, "Shit, it's over. You're not coming back from that."
And
Fortunately, he did, but that's
8 months later from a torn again. 8 months
Yeah.
later from a torn
That's the
ACL.
exception.
8 months later
Yeah.
from a torn ACL. 3 months later from a torn Achilles. I just want to put that in
Yeah.
perspective.
I mean, look, there was more than just a torn ACL. That dude destroyed everything.
He tore everything.
But whatever, it's still 8 months. Yeah, and
Yep.
an Achilles is usually harder to come back from.
Yep.
3 months is not realistic. It's not
Well,
realistic unless
it
there's
is.
a miracle happening.
Yeah, a miracle juice. Yeah. Real Barry Bonds-ish. Fuck out of here. Well, yeah, look, amateurism is dead, and I couldn't be happier about it. We live in a capitalistic society, but we're telling these kids that make hundreds of millions of dollars for their universities, like, nah, not yet. Wait your time. You know what I mean? Like on any play at my career can end. On any single play, my career can end. Perfect example. Wide receiver that Miami had that would have been a top 10 pick, Amon Richards, I think like 8-9 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Right? He had one great year. I think he set the season record for freshmen at Miami. Right? He beat I think he had like 1,300 yards or some shit.
Okay.
Broken neck. Can never, like, they found the fracture in his vertebra, can never play again. Like, still they honored his scholarship because Miami didn't have to. Like, they honored his scholarship, and then he ended up getting his degree, and now he's like a sports agent. But again, like, you have to hope that the university you go to doesn't, like, because that scholarship counts towards your athletes, right? Like, that's one less scholarship. If we look at the business of it, that's
right.
that you can offer, right? So that's one less
Right.
wide receiver, one less offensive tackle, one less anything. So they don't have to do that shit. And a lot of universities don't. I was like, hey man, sorry, thank you. Have a good one. Push you right out the door because there's a next guy coming in that looks just like you.
And the thing is, it happens all the time, every year, and it's not just one guy, and it's not an injury that's that extreme.
Yep.
They suffer other injuries that are much less extreme, but that they just aren't the same player anymore. They're
Yep.
not that same 3-4 star, whatever blue chip recruit that they thought they were going to be, and they just say sorry, like that's it. We can't help it.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, if we really believe in capitalism, right? Like, you would be every Republican and quote unquote lift yourself up by the bootstraps should be all about this, right? Like, and it's not to
Right.
bring, like, Democrats too if they're against it because they think, oh, amateurism, that whole student and athlete bullshit. Like, nah, man, like, they have the right to make their money. Like, they have this small window. They're a brand. If they let the brand distract them, then they were never meant to be the best at their profession in the NFL, and they focused and they took their endeavors a different way. It's just like, it's whatever, man. It's fucking crazy. Fuck the NCAA. And fuck Ron Cherry,
Agreed.
the referee for 2002 national championship.
You know the dude's name.
I know that dude.
Jesus Christ.
I know that motherfucker's name, bro.
Hey,
I know that
by the way,
What's
who
up?
are you talking about? Was it Cain Velasquez?
No,
Was it Alistair?
Alistair
Mark Hunt.
Overeem. No, Alistair Overeem.
Alistair Overeem.
Look
Yeah.
at, if you can, do me a favor, because you have that good internet on your side. Try to find a side by side of a before and after, before USADA came into the UFC, and then after USADA came into the UFC, and look how his body changed. And his performances, yeah, they didn't vary much, but he was definitely a different person. So again, like, we're supposed to believe that these athletes from the ROC are now somehow performing better than they were 6 years ago or 5 years ago when the last Olympics. They're performing better now and setting world records and beating people that they never beat before and all this other shit. The Simone Biles thing is different because like she quit, and US still won the silver, which I didn't think they had a chance. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense to me, bro. Like, it doesn't make, I've always been told, if Kobe Jelly Bean motherfucking Bryant couldn't come back from an Achilles after a year, nobody can. Nobody could come in earlier than that. Not a single.
You know what it was? He didn't do it right.
It's the level
If he hadn't taken that free throw,
that's right.
He would have come back in a month and a half.
Yeah, you're right.
But that free throw cost him another 13 months.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, and he just it's that fucking free throw, bro.
Speaking of Simone Biles.
Yeah, let me get your thoughts on that, man. Should I set the table?
Look, man.
Should I set the table and then
go ahead? Yeah,
right, yeah.
Please.
So,
for people that aren't familiar with what's going on.
Yeah, this morning, right? Again, we're recording this July 27th. This morning, Simone Biles withdrew. Initially, USA Gymnastics said it was due to injury, right? Said it was a medical issue, right? Now, Simone Biles, I guess on her Instagram, I don't know. I'm not on social media, as we know, but you know, Dan Le Batard talked about it, where it posted that she just felt like the weight of the world was on her shoulders, and she just couldn't. She was just shaking and like almost having like panic attacks and shit like that. Again, I've had anxiety attacks. I've had panic attacks. I'm a big proponent, and I tell everybody that will listen, mental health and therapy is a great thing. Don't think it isn't. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. If you work out your body, if you work out, if you eat clean, you should work out your mind and talk to somebody to work out those issues and get to know yourself better. Can't knock that at all. Now,
right.
What are your thoughts on it? Because we went back and forth as to like, we ping-ponged ideas of like, okay, it's like this, because if it would have been Kevin or LeBron, would our talking points be different? So what are your thoughts?
The talking points have happened. I mean, that has happened. If you recall, LeBron, 2008, when he supposedly quit in the Boston series. Yeah.
And then
it always comes back to
the three quarters, and then the three quarters LeBron in the Dallas Mavericks series.
There. And then and I don't know if anyone talks about this one, but there's the one that I noticed, and I bought tickets to this game and then I sold them because I had a feeling that it was just not going to work out. Game 5 of the San Antonio series, where they got beat 4-1, I think.
4-1, yep.
And I was going to that game in San Antonio. There was like $600-700, and I sold my ticket, and I ended up watching it at a bar, and they got out to a 20-point lead, and I just had a feeling like it's not gonna last. They're not gonna be able to hold up. They're doing everything they can. San Antonio wasn't playing well. Miami was playing the greatest game that they could, and they did. They fell apart in the third quarter, and I looked at his body language. Now, granted, this was when everything else was happening, with like the talks. Is he coming back?
Yep.
Brady was trying to talk to him. Wade was trying to convince him what's going on. Blah 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 blah. That whole drama around it.
Yeah.
But I looked at it and I've seen the game since then, and his body language to me was like, I quit. Now, whether it was because he quit because the team wasn't doing anything, or he quit because like he just nothing he could do was going to change anything. They were going to lose to the Spurs. They were just a better team. But to me, he quit on the court. That's what it looked like. And they didn't make such a huge deal out of it as they did the Boston game and you know, the other stuff like the Mavericks.
Yep.
But he's gotten shit for it. All these athletes that and I don't know, like maybe it's I don't know if it's a different situation, because I got into Twitter for a little bit and I went down the Twitter rabbit hole. I had to like control myself, but there's a comment about her having like the goat emoji or the goat sewn onto her uniform or something like that. And she didn't create that for herself. I think every time people talk about her, they throw out
That's
the
a lot
goat
of pressure.
emoji.
Yeah, that's a
She's
lot
the
of pressure.
goat. She's the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
She's doing stuff that men can't even do.
Yeah.
Or
she has
a
moves
few
named,
men can do.
She has moves named after her. Yeah.
She has moves named after her. She's performing things that are so difficult that no other women can do it. And I mean, and then this goes back to like 2019 where she wasn't even scored appropriately because the way gymnastics are scored is level of difficulty and then the execution.
Yep.
And so the things that she was attempting are way more difficult than what other athletes are attempting. And they're even underscoring her on that because the bullshit excuse from these judges or the IOC or whomever, it's not the IOC, it's another group, was that they didn't want to rank it so high because if they ranked it really high, that would entice other gymnasts to try it, even though these were extremely unsafe maneuvers. And so they didn't want to give.
Yeah, she was being
Simone
punished
Biles,
for her greatness.
But but the thing is that there are other moves that are extremely unsafe.
All of them are
that they get. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Look at the crazy shit they're doing, but there are some that are deemed unsafe already that they try anyway. So yeah, she was being punished for her greatness, and so I think that was part of the conversation too going into the Olympics, that she wasn't being graded, scored fairly. And
you think,
look, to me, she has the right to do that. She's not feeling well.
Yep.
She wasn't there mentally. The U.S. team with her, I think mentally there or not, they may not have gotten the gold. I don't know, but
they lost by like 2 points.
I don't know. I know that she beats people by whole points.
Yeah.
In a sport where you win by tenths of a point.
Yeah.
Because of the other stuff that she does. So maybe they do beat the ROC. I can't say the name of the country because that country's not competing.
Exactly.
But
it's in the first. The R is the country, then the OC is the Olympic Committee. Very weird.
Okay.
Now, do you think we had a conversation? I want to say like a month and a half ago about the whole Naomi Osaka thing, right? Like withdrawing could do some mental health issues. It's kind of simple. Like
it's an individual sport,
right? It's 100%. Like if she does this, like this is where I'll go at this a little bit differently, right? Like where I don't want to like just go hard in the paint because I have a therapist. Mental health is my thing. I mean, but like
right
where I'll have, and this is just where I'll have the bigger issue with it is if she competes in her personal individual all around, because like
she's going to.
That's where it'll bother. Like these were incredibly inexperienced Olympians, right? Like she was the only former Olympian on the team. No, because wait, like she was on the side clapping and all this shit, and I get that. But like if she goes after like individual success, and again, if this was I want to be very clear. If this was a man that did this shit, well, the men's gymnastics is absolute trash. So it's not like that's even in the conversation. They're constantly fifth. They don't even fucking medal, right? Like, and she's still quote unquote the greatest of all time by everything you said. But if she goes after the individual and she like had a, I think I would look at it differently. I can't say that now, right? I guess I don't know if I go hard because like as the way I'm looking at it, I could only give you like my take right now. If she comes back tomorrow, because I think it's tomorrow in Japan for them, for the individual. If she comes back and goes, no, I'm fine now. I think people are gonna feel some kind of way, man. I think people are gonna feel some kind of way.
And I don't know if you read this. So there are reporters there, journalists.
Yeah.
And they were watching her attempt a couple of maneuvers, and she bailed on those maneuvers a couple times. So she was going to do an extra or whatever, and she didn't complete. You can't. You will literally kill you. She will become paralyzed. Like if you're not mentally there to complete something like that,
you could die.
It's not the same as like I'm not feeling there mentally. I can't drain this 3. No. Like that I don't know. I don't want to say that it's life and death, but when you're at the point where like you're kind of out because you're not confident in yourself in landing something. So you know what I mean? Like forget whatever score you get. Like the maneuvers that they're trying are crazy, and then the maneuvers that she tries are next level. Yep. So even if she's not trying one of those, like just to go out there and compete and she's not sure and she doesn't land right or she doesn't, that's going to put her health at risk
I don't think
And
for her
that's why I have no trouble. Like I get that she might get shit for it, or like Osaka had no issue with her. I have no issue either, even though people are gonna. I saw people shitting on her,
Of
and
course.
you're right. We would definitely go harder on LeBron and on the men. And again, that's a stigma where like mental health is mental health, period.
Yes.
But I see, like, I get that it's a team sport, but when that type of sport, when you have to do those things that
individually still
puts your body.
Yeah.
And look, and if she comes back and competes individually and her mind is clear and all this, and she's going through practice and she's able to complete her routines and her practice is fine, I don't have an issue. But when she's going through practice in this team event and she literally she's whatever's got her worked up,
I don't know.
She's at a point that at that time she couldn't complete it. She was going to put herself in danger. I have no issues with her pulling out.
Without a doubt, I have no issues with. Now, my question, right? Like, and this is just through the conversation because I'm making sure to like be attentive and like listen to what you're saying. Like, I don't understand how you get to the point where like you're literally shaking. This is what Stu Gott said, right? Like you're literally shaking, like as before you walk on stage and the practice and stuff like that. Because that pressure is something, John. Let's be honest, right? Like regardless, might put this out there too. When we get a huge contract with Meadowlark Media and our podcast blows up and all this different, we'll never understand that kind of pressure, right? We'll never understand from like the age of 4 dreaming of being an Olympian. You know what I mean? We can't go back 33 years and live it all over again and all that. We'll never understand what it's like to be Simone Biles, LeBron James, Kevin. We'll never understand that. We could just give our take on these things and we're only talking about it purely from like the mental health perspective. Like I don't understand how for her own mental health, right? And I'm not talking about like I would feel a different kind of way just because like, oh, she's using the mental health thing, but like I don't understand how like in 24 to 36 hours, whenever it is, because again, time frame is different depending on the time in Japan, like how mentally you could say I can't do this because I'm bailing out. So no, I can't do this. You know what I mean? Like it would scare me for me to see her like do the vault, the balance beam. You know what I mean? Like you still kind of injure yourself, but it's not like a high rate of speed movement where you're like doing the vault or the uneven bars or the floor where you could really injure yourself. But like for her to come back, that was scary because of like 24 hours ago, you were fried so much that you pulled out of an Olympic event when the world was counting on. Like, I don't know how, like, if she does it and surpasses and wins the gold again, I'll applaud her with no ill will, shame, or anything, or any kind of thought. But the thought of her doing that without being 100% focused to do routines that the world can't do, and she gets hurt because of the pressure of like, oh look, you let down your team, that's when I'll have a problem. You know what I mean? Like that's when I'll have a problem. Like she should not have to injure herself to that level for our own enjoyment and our entertainment, right? Her pulling out, I have zero problem with. I didn't have a problem with Naomi Osaka pulling out. Mental health, look, you never know when an anxiety attack, panic attack is going to hit you. Do your thing, but I don't like. She has to be stopped now, in my mind, from herself, and be like, look, we can't do this. Like there's a what if like halfway through a double backflip somersault Simone Biles shit, she loses focus because like we don't know.
This is what I'm reading from The Hill 59 minutes ago. It says, we're going to take it one day at a time and see what happens. I have to focus on my mental health. I just don't trust myself as much anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's age. I'm just more nervous when I do gymnastics. I feel like I am also not having as much fun. And I know this Olympic Games, I wanted it to be for myself. I'm still doing it for other people. And look, at 24, by the way,
she's old.
Like 24 as a gymnast, you're old. You're like a 45-year-old quarterback.
Yeah,
Great. What are you still doing here?
Your body's fucked. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they have been doing this, like you said, since they were 4 years old.
Yeah.
These gymnasts have been putting their bodies through hell.
Yeah.
So yeah, I she didn't really say what it was, but obviously the fact that she doesn't trust herself, for whatever reason. Yeah. Physically, she feels good. She's in shape.
It's all mental.
Emotionally, that kind of varies.
Yeah.
On time and moment. So I don't know. Maybe maybe emotionally it's just, who knows? We don't know what's going on. Maybe it's as simple as she is the greatest of all time, and this is the time to, not that she needs to cement it, but like performing here would definitely cement her legacy if she hasn't already done so. And maybe that pressure just,
it's too much.
It's caught up with her in the moment.
You reading that actually brought me back to something. I think it was yesterday or the day before, where they did like an interview thing. You know how they do like the little bio thing where like they have the camera right in your face, like the little ring light, and then the camera's right there and you're talking to the camera. And she said it. She said that same thing. Where like, I'm older now, like it gets harder to like get up for these moments. I'm 24. She goes, that's really old for a gymnast. You know, like my body doesn't feel the same. Like I become more afraid of injury, and what I'm gonna do. When I'm younger, I'm reckless. Like I'm more fearless than anything else. Like, to think about like the rate of speed that she's jumping and the height that she's jumping. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it's just normal where like that. Look, man, like we can't do the same things we could do 10 years ago. Like we can't do the same things we could do 20 years ago, regardless of, like, your body just changes. And that's not being put through the physical trauma that is women's gymnastics in the USA. And also, let's not fucking let it slide that US gymnastics covered up for a fucking sexual abuser and Larry Nassar, and which Simone Biles was a victim of. Like, that also happened with being the only one that, because all these girls that are there now weren't treated under Larry Nassar, with somebody else. She's the last one. You know what I mean? Like, that's also huge and weighing, I'm sure, has to be weighing on her. I don't know.
No, I agree. Look, you got to take care of yourself.
100% of the time.
At the end of the day, these are sports, man. These are they're just games. They're the Olympic Games, and the one that she competes in requires not just talent, but extreme focus and mental focus, agility. If you're not there mentally, it could be ugly. It could be ugly.
It could be very, very, very.
I don't want to see her. Bad. I don't want to see her in a wheelchair, unable to walk, unable to do whatever, because she feels that she has to go out there, even though she doesn't trust herself.
Yeah.
And something happens to her. So I get that. If it was a guy or any other sport, like you said, Durant, James, whatever, we'd be giving them shit. And I don't even deal with. I've given them shit. I've talked shit about LeBron and other things you said, but I just never looked at it as a mental health issue. One, maybe because of the stigma, and they never said that it was a mental health issue. But two, they didn't bring it up, but I didn't think of it as a mental health thing. Like the way that I just saw them quit.
Yeah.
I just saw their body language quit. It wasn't I'm scared or I can't do it. It was just like I quit. Yep. Whereas she's like, I'm scared. And when you're talking about the maneuvers that
happens a lot of basketball though.
Like, you're scared for your life.
Yeah.
Like in that sport.
Mm-hmm.
I would be too.
Terrified.
So
I'm terrified watching it. Like, I'm terrified seeing somebody run at that rate of speed, hit a fucking vault, spring up in the air 25 feet, and then stick it on their heels. Can't comprehend that shit. That has to be oh no.
Yeah, the proprioception required to do that, execute those maneuvers, is ridiculous.
Yeah, I couldn't do a front flip, like a regular front flip, and land like that. Even at my best. There's like, no, I'd fucking land right on my face. No, fuck that. Listen, man.
That's why I go into the foam ball pits. That's why.
Yeah, but even then, you belly flop that shit. Yeah.
but there's no consequences. None. Except being made fun of.
Yeah, that's about it, which is fine. Make fun of me. I don't get injured. Look, I personally, I don't think she should compete again. Like, it scares me to think that she's willing, that there's going to be people around her. They're going to be like, oh, but you have to do this because, like, dude, like, none of us go out there and perform like she does. Not her coaches, not her teammates, not anybody else that wears those fucking uniforms from any country. has ever performed to the level Simone Biles performed it. So she can literally talk to nobody. That's incredibly difficult, man. I don't think she should. I don't think she should do the all around. But hey, man, I don't know. It's tough, bro. It's tough. See how I've like evolved on my thought process as I've gone through this, where I was like, oh, I might give her shit. Now I'm just like, nah, probably not. I don't think she should do it. That's growth, sir. That's what that is. That's growth.
It took me to tell you, hey, you understand that this isn't shooting a fucking free throw. Yep. It's someone doing the things that she does, and you don't trust yourself.
That's
you can break your neck. I know, but just
we're brothers. But you know,
I'm not asking you to give me credit. you already know you gave me the credit, even though you didn't want to.
I acknowledge
you didn't have to say it.
Yeah, man. Look, mental health is, like I said, we talk about all the time. Like that's like the overarching theme of our pod. That's why we'll never attack that kind of situation. You know what I mean? Like we will never attack anybody. Like, you know, it's for what they feel is right for them to do. Who the fuck am I to tell? Who the fuck is anybody to tell me what to do with my thoughts and my mental health days? And who the fuck am I to tell anybody what to do with theirs? Especially at a level that I would never comprehend. Like I don't even speak that language of greatness. Like I'm in like the understanding English for dummies. And she's on like the highest level of ancient alien fucking technology and speaks it fluently. That's just some shit I would never comprehend, bro. Never.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. JV, you got anything else? I think we knocked it all out.
Yeah, man. As far as mental health goes, LeBron's a quitter. Mental health issues don't apply to him. He quit in the Boston series. He quit in the Maverick series. He quit in Game 5 against the Spurs. That's why he'll never beat MJ or Kobe. R.I.P.
Yep. And I guess I also here's my mental.
He's great, but he also quit for sure.
There's also that part where like I question Durant's leadership. Like if we're gonna start like I don't know if he's that dude, because I don't understand how they're losing, bro, and I don't know if they're gonna like get it together. Given this isn't a very good team, but Durant's supposed to be that dude. Like I think he's just that dude as an auxiliary piece. You know what I mean? Like
you're talking about the Olympic team? I thought you were talking about like the Brooklyn.
No, overall. Like I don't think he's that guy that makes anybody better. Like, you know what I mean? Like I think it's so much easier. I think we don't understand how much easier Steph made the game for Durant.
Oh, I agree. But look, Durant does make people better by default of being Durant, right? Because he's going to draw double and triple teams that if he gives the ball up, he should have.
I think there's something missing with him leadership wise. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. We'll see. Again,
by the way,
I'm basing it off one game.
Health. Yeah, I know you are. And I'm not watching the Olympics, but I know the U.S. lost to France.
Yep.
Giannis, right? Giannis, who not just mental health, right? Flamingo leg. Right? We're talking about flamingo leg, and he played, and he had a crazy series. We didn't even talk about this at all.
Didn't even cover it at all.
Over a week ago.
Yep.
Exactly. This guy who is extremely talented.
Yes.
A generational talent.
Yeah.
Dominates games, dominated that series
with layups
with a couple 40-point games.
Yeah, and a 50.
Yeah, but
and
layups
a 50
and dunks. But like people talk shit about that's all you do, right? Harden is like, oh, I wish I could be 8 feet tall and just dunk on people. Like, look,
everybody would
dominated in the paint.
Yeah.
Elijah one dominated in the paint.
Shaq.
Karl Malone dominated. Shaq. Like Kareem.
Yeah.
The skyhook, like all these players, look.
It's very dismissive.
Harden has his little bullshit move where he draws fouls and he shoots threes. Steph can handle the ball and shoot threes.
Yeah.
This dude, people know what he's gonna do, and they still can't stop him. The Heat did it. The Heat did it, and
Toronto.
That was a one-time thing. But I mean,
Toronto did it before the year before.
But they did. But look, but what I was getting at with Giannis is, as great as he is, as dominant as he is, as all he's accomplished, this guy goes out there and says, yeah, I'm not a closer. And I think he was being questioned on his leadership, his mental toughness, this and that. No, like, do you know the mental toughness that it takes to go out there in an alpha male sport and be like, nah, this dude, like, if it wasn't for him, I'm gonna hate the day that he leaves or retires.
Yeah.
Like, to be able to go out there and say that about Middleton, even though you're the superstar. And you know what? all these people started talking like he's a number 2. You can't win with Giannis. I'm like, no, dude, he's not the number 2. He's the number 1, but he knows that if he needs someone to close, or if he's not having the day that he's having, Middleton's there. There is nothing wrong with that.
Nothing.
And the fact that he's able to say that,
I think that
people are questioning his mental toughness, which is the opposite. Like that shows extreme mental toughness.
I think that goes back to. I think that goes back to the thing you were talking about earlier, right? With like the stigma, right? Where like as somehow addressing and understanding your weaknesses is looked at as weak, right? Like where I'm perfect at everything. No, that's impossible.
Yeah.
Right. Like everybody's flawed incredibly terribly at something, right? Like for you to be able to like in front of the media of however many millions of people, again, look, I'm just not that. Like that is utter greatness, man. Like to just say it and have the ability to just own it and say it so matter of factly. Like my perspective on Giannis evolved so much throughout these playoffs, right? Where against Durant, because I'm a Durant fan, you know what I mean? Like regardless of what I say, I'm a huge Durant fan. I think he's one of the greatest of all time. But like against that, I was like, I just wanted to see that more. You know what I mean? That Durant versus Giannis, because it was such a duel and it was incredible. And just like, dude, it's. And then I was like, oh, there's
not just to be able to say that.
There's so much more than that, right? Like where you just want to see that more, and then be able to understand, like, look, yeah, Durant's the greatest player in the planet. Like the fuck, you know what I mean? Like to be able to say it while they're playing each other, and then knowing that I'm gonna beat you these next 2 games though. Cool, enjoy this 3-2, but I'm gonna take these next 2 games and I'm gonna take it on the road to the championship. Like that, there's nothing wrong with being humble, man. There's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing. There's nothing wrong with being humble. And what's crazy to me is that like the 3-point line and Steph especially with the way that he fucking shooting from half court,
greatest shooter of all
30
time.
feet back.
Yeah.
Right. Changed the game. And now everyone wants to do that.
Yeah.
But Giannis is Shaq. I mean,
Yeah.
the way he scores, where he scores from 4 feet out, he's Shaq with the handles, not quite of a point guard, but I mean, the way that he handles the ball, like he has athleticism, because that's where he scores. He's scoring inside the paint. And I get that we love free 3-pointers and all this shit, but I looked at his stats. The dude shot 62%.
Yeah.
67%. Fuck, shoot all the 2s you want. If you're gonna shoot 62, 67%,
shoot them
you're
all.
gonna have to shoot you're gonna have to shoot 45% from 3.
Yeah. What's more realistic?
That
right?
efficiency.
Yeah. What's more realistic?
Not only that. Yeah, exactly. What's more realistic? But not only that, down the stretch, talking about mental toughness, everyone knows his weakness. He can't shoot free throw. He made all the fucking free throws.
Yeah.
All the free throws.
From
knew
the
that
guy,
he was gonna get fouled, and he said, "Give me the ball.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and I'll take the foul." He made the shots and made all the free throws.
From the guy that in the Brooklyn series had a Ben Simmons moment that he passed it up and turned the ball over because he didn't want the free throw. That's the evolution of his mental health and mental strength throughout the playoffs. And I salute Giannis, man. I salute Simone Biles for all that shit. Like, you have to know only you can take care of you. That's it. Like, nobody knows at that level. Like, nobody knows your everyday shit. You, me, whoever listens to this, so on and so forth. Giannis, only they know. Like, I didn't know that Giannis Antetokounmpo wasn't even his real name. His real last name is like Antenubo or something. If you looked at it, was like all over Twitter where like the tribe that he actually comes from is the same tribe. Is the same tribe as Akeem Olajuwon. Right. So like, like he fucking was it not canonized, but he Hellenized. I think they call it Hellenized. He Hellenized his name to become more Greek, to become, you know what I mean? He did that shit. Like, dude, like, humility and greatness is all that Giannis is about. And I look forward to next season. And I'm gonna root for him, man. Like, I'm gonna root for Giannis. I'm not gonna root for the Bucks because whatever, like, but I guess by proxy I'll root for the Bucks, but I'm gonna root for somebody who's that humble and knows exactly who he is. That's it.
I got nothing.
I got nothing else, brother. All right, man. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace. John, you're gonna do your little weird deuce.
What weird deuce, man?
That one right there.